here are the principles coming up in a minute. Share screen. Can everyone see them? Off you go, Jen. You'll need to unmute.
The purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
Julie.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, answering, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Yupika. Where are we? Number 10.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it is important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of internet-based platforms.
Yupika? Are you there? Can you read that, Yupika?
Oh, sorry. The mastermind. The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Beautiful, thank you. Welcome, Carly. I don't know where Gary is, so we will carry on as it with the plan anyway. And the plan is, because of Martin's launching a very determined effort with the Think and Grow Rich book and studying that and actually working through it. So, because Think and Grow Rich is more like a workbook than a, just sit down and casually read. There's exercises to do and to implement in your life. And the one that he had set out for us, I had already been doing that as an affirmation for me every day. And I had thought, I'm just going to set the amount of sum that I know will allow me to do what I want to do, and then some. So it was a big, big goal. And I just set it out there and I thought, look, I don't know how, but it's, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what I'm going to do. But then he said, we're going to re-engineer it and actually work out how you're going to do it. And so I sat down and actually worked out the figures. Being an accountant, I'm pretty good at that. And realized that my current activity, no matter how much I stretch myself with my current activity, there is no way I'm going to reach that goal. And I kind of fell in a bit of heat because of that. and kind of just sat with that. And that's kind of why I thought, well, I really need a different perspective, but I didn't know who to call, because when you're in that kind of state, it's just, you don't, you know, you just, even though the people that you know will be there for you, that kind of state just says, no, I can't talk to anybody. So
Horrible.
I ended up doing one of the processes that I've learned with Gary on myself as I went to bed at night, and I just slept with it. And in the morning I thought, you know, I don't need to know how. My current paradigm is shifting, and I will learn what I need to learn and apply the skills I need to apply as they come up, and just putting one step in front of the other will actually help me get there. And I just thought that this is the power of doing these exercises in Think and Grow Rich. And this is the power of Noble Goldman, because I'm in a community where I'm getting guidance, but I'm also getting a little bit challenged at every turn. And I know that there are people there to help me. So I'm really excited that Gary, hi Gary.
Hi, Darla.
We're all worried about you.
Well, I had this like emergency client that was really had so much suffering, and so I just I ran over. So I saw, I was like, oh my God, it's past 6, and I was like, ah. So I rescheduled her, got her in a good place, rescheduled her for Thursday. So I'm good.
Well, I'm really glad. I'm sure we're all really glad you could make it. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's someone here to say hello to you. Yupika's here.
Oh, there is my little Yupika. How are you, darling?
Hello, Gary. How are you?
Oh, it's so good to see your face. How are you,
Good to see
sweetheart?
you too. Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, fantastic.
I've missed your voice.
Oh, I missed you too.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming.
No problem.
So, Gary, I've just gone through that email that I sent you about my experience over the weekend to introduce what Martin's doing with the Think and Grow Rich and the actual working through, and the power of working through what we did there. And I guess I just wanted to make sure that people knew that this was happening on Thursday, and it was supposed to be just for Gold Star members, but he's had a lot of interest in it, so he's going to actually run it at the 5:30 free members course as well. So anybody who wants to join in, and at least for this one, come in and actually hear about what is going to happen here. And as I'm sure those who know Martin can profess, he's going to be producing something pretty amazing when he speaks.
And fast.
Yeah. No, if you've not spent time with Martin, do your best to. I remember when V first introduced me to Martin, we got on a call together, him and I, and by about the middle of the call, we were both weeping because we had so much love for each other. We were like sitting there like crying, tears running down our faces, and we're like, I said, well, I just feel like I've just met, a long lost brother I haven't seen for a lifetime. So he's an extraordinary soul, and give yourself the opportunity to hang out with him, because he's congruent as all get out. And he does what he says he's going to do, and he is congruent in his heart. The same how I felt about Mark, who started this whole thing, was Mark is an incredibly congruent man. So I don't like to hang out with people in, especially, what is the word, on platforms like this, unless I know for a fact that they are in their heart doing the right thing, aligning their values, their words, and their actions with what they say they stand for, and doing it consistently. That's why I became involved, because I thought, I actually feel like I am getting involved in an international community of like-minded souls. And I felt very good about it. So, and V, of course, is the culprit behind all of this, because she's the one that brought us all together. So
it was a group effort.
It was.
And Mark for actually launching all this so we can do this kind of thing together. And
yeah. It's really awesome. So V, talk to me a little bit about what you've spoken about so far and what your experience was. And I'll just go ahead and elaborate off of you, but I would love to hear more about what you've been experiencing with it, and that would be awesome.
Well, I'll actually read through the process that Martin provided in the event, because this is exactly what I did from the book Think and Grow Rich. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It's not sufficient to merely say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money that you desire. So for me, it was how I'm going to be of service in in my areas of expertise. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. And number 4 is where I went back to re-engineer how I'm going to reach that amount of money, and realized that my current paradigm is not going to get me there. And I had done 5th, which was write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. And 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring for the night and once after arising in the morning. So this is straight from Think and Grow Rich, and this is it's pretty powerful just to do that side of it, but the actual, it just clicked. And it was also a pattern for me where I set a goal and I don't reach it, or I don't know how I'm going to get there, so I feel a bit hopeless about that. So this is a new thing for me, to actually just trust that it is going to happen with my intention, and I will be able to take the right action. And I think that comes from Gary's training and the process that I did, but also being in a group like this to be able to get support. So that's pretty much what I said.
Well, I'd just like to speak about the specificity piece for just a moment, because the subconscious mind, and I'm just gaining so much more respect for our subconscious minds, I gotta say. The subconscious mind needs specifics in order to manifest. It is one of the vital prerequisites. The more specificity we can bring, and the reason for that, the subconscious mind is imprinted by emotions. So the more that we can evoke feelings, the more that impregnable download into the subconscious mind lands. So specificity always builds emotions. And the more that we can build that emotion and feel the state as if it's already manifested, impregnates the subconscious mind. And here's a little process that you can do on your own. I remember once when I first learned this, I sat down at my dining room table and I started writing out in detail what I would feel when I was earning $300,000 a year. So I had an amount that I thought I wanted to achieve. And I sat down and I wrote out my experience of myself making breakfast and then sitting down at my dining room table to eat it. And I described it visually, auditorily, what I would be hearing, what I would be smelling. I used the 5 senses, what I'd be seeing, feeling, hearing, smelling, and thinking. And as I wrote it down, I described like the sunlight coming through the trees outside. I described to myself how the taste of the food was. And I described the smell in the kitchen. I put myself in that state, and then the emotional state I felt of that level of financial security, and then what I could contribute back and what I could do and how I would utilize that wealth in a way that would actually be contributive not only to myself, but to people that I knew that were in need around me. And I began to just let my senses broaden out until I felt like I was actually there. And the more I did that, the more I would get the emotional state of the satisfaction of having that kind of wealth. And I continued to do that off and on for, years. I would do this other process as well to build the emotion. Remember this one thing, that to set our goal, but to build the emotion is how that actually begins to manifest. That's how we impregnate the subconscious mind. If the subconscious mind believes it, it manifests. So the ability to be specific in setting your goals is really important. The ability to increase the emotional actualization of it is very important. Once you do that, things begin to roll. I used to do this thing where I would do mind mapping at night. I had books and books and books like this of blank paper, and I would draw these very simple mind maps. I would draw a heart in the middle. I would put the date of tomorrow in that heart. And I would just start drawing these lines of things that I wanted to create the following day. It would be like a to-do list of what I would do the following day. But what I also did is I wrote out what I would do and what I had as priorities for my following day, but I would feel that particular item accomplished that day before I went to sleep. And as soon as I could feel it accomplished, I could see it, I could feel it, I would move to the next one. And then I would feel it already being accomplished, and I would move to the next one until I got through all the things I had to do the following day. I would do that at night. Now, why at night? And I'm going to recommend this book to everybody. And if you can't find it, I've probably got about 40 copies of the book somewhere. But the book is called Resurrection by Neville, Neville. And Neville was this mystic that lived in the Los Angeles area back in the 30s. And he truly was a mystic. I'm trying to see if I have his book on my desk, but I'm pretty sure I don't, but I'm just going to look really quick. No, I don't. I can't find it off the top of my head either. But, okay, I won't look. It's not meant to be read from tonight.
What's the title again, Gary?
It's Resurrection by Neville. So in Resurrection, which is one of the most profound books on manifesting and programming the subconscious mind that you can buy, it is incredible. And one of the things it does say is that go to sleep at night into the chamber of the power that created us, and go into that chamber feeling the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. And as you do that, he would say, people go to sleep thinking that they wake up tomorrow at the effect of the world. But he said, when you do this, you go to sleep imprinting the subconscious mind for what you desire to have manifest tomorrow. So it's a very different approach. In some of it, he would say, stop complaining about people or personalities in your life. Like, just stop the dialogue. And he would say, if you want someone to change your opinion about them. Now, what I'm telling you right now is really impactful, and it's really important because so many of us waste so much time in this narrative about what people did to us. And I'm not free of that either, but I catch myself faster. And what happens is the subconscious mind takes your language and your words literally about yourself. So let's say you're condemning and you're complaining about someone in your life. Your subconscious mind takes that. Your thoughts and your words don't magically leave you and go cling to them, and they somehow learn a lesson or feel bad about themselves. No, they stay within you. And your subconscious mind takes it as if those are words about yourself. So whatever kind of narrative you're in, stop it if it's about other people, because all it is, all condemnation and criticism is self-condemnation and self-criticism. It goes nowhere but stays inside of you. And your energy ratchets down as you continue to do this until you have driven yourself into depression or acts of low self-esteem. This is why the Course in Miracles says you walk hand in hand into heaven with your brothers and sisters, which simply means that as I condemn others or complain or criticize others, it is me. And if I free others from my condemnation and my criticism, I free myself. I create heaven for myself by no condemnation and no criticism of others. It's a very different concept from what the world tells us and how the world programs us. If we really want freedom and to create what we want to create out of our lives, we have to look at it from the perspective that we cause the least amount of harm. Least amount of harm. And that's why, I'm a vegetarian. I do not, if I can sustain my health, not causing torturous murder to sentient beings and making my body a graveyard of animals, then I'm going to do that. Because I'm not going to cause harm to sustain my life, even though I love the taste of meat. My very favorite thing in the world is hot dogs. I will not do it because I do not want to add that burden to my life, nor do I want to add the fear that's in the animal's flesh into my body at the moment of slaughter. These are not benign acts that we're all experiencing here. As we contribute and consume, we create the demand. The demand creates the killing. So just a thought. I'm not a militant vegetarian like I used to be. I used to be very militant, but not anymore. I've softened. These are just the consequences of all of our behaviors, cause the least amount of harm. When you are choosing to lead this spiritual life, and you're choosing this for yourself, and you use your capacity to use the mind to create for yourself, there is no part of manifesting that isn't linked to your sense of self-esteem. Your self-esteem is based on how congruent you can be. We have this universal mind that is, in my opinion, all-powerful, all-knowing. It is that eternal aspect of us that has taken all of our experiences and created our current realities from the collection of experiences, knowledge, and karmic repercussions of everything we've ever done in any lifetime we've ever lived. So it is what I'll call the super conscious mind. That aspect of us is vitally important to also program. So when we look at specificity, we want to evoke emotions. When we evoke emotions, we begin to start creating this profound impact on the imprinting our subconscious. Timed. I've often looked at that aspect of things need to have a date on it, because it's almost like you're giving this finality to the subconscious mind by this date. It also empowers action from the perspective, as V so eloquently said, that we have to make sure that it's also achievable. Like, I would love to be a basketball player and play like Michael Jordan, but I'm not 7 feet tall. I'm not black. I'm not all that athletic. I can't even dribble a ball. So for me to play like Michael Jordan would be ridiculously impossible. So I wouldn't shame myself on the court like that. However, set goals that are achievable. Every goal we set, no matter what we do with our heads and our emotions, takes massive action. The two go hand in hand. If we don't take massive action towards our goals, we can't just sit back and be passive about, well, I mind mapped for like a month and nothing happened. You're right, it won't happen. You have to take massive action. Put it into motion, inspire yourself, inspire the subconscious mind, feel the feelings of it already achieved, and have a strategy for achieving it. This is why when we have it timed, we know that there's a certain level of urgency to actually doing what we have to do to make this happen. So don't sit back. Life is not a passive act. Life is an action act. And strategize what it is reasonably that you can do with the resources you have to make sure that that goal actually manifests. Take reasonable, achievable goals to do, and it will happen. But it takes massive action on each one of our parts. The strategy piece of it is, I'm going to give you this one thing that I think is very cool. I learned this years ago. It's the most simplest question. It's called the Buddha micro pattern. And the Buddha micro pattern is when you are looking at achieving a goal and taking action in that direction, you have to ask yourself, what is the very first step that I would have to do to actually achieve this goal? The very first step. What is the first step I have to do?
Hi.
Turn off your mic, Jules. Julie, turn off your microphone.
Sorry.
And so when you start looking at what is it you have to do, ask yourself, what is the first step? Second step, ask yourself, what is the second step I have to do? In other words, take a sequential strategy forward. First step, second step, third step, what's the giant step I have to do to get that goal by that date? And then start. And I would put dates on the milestones. This is why Noble Goldman's thing on I think setting goals and doing a 30-day plan is so brilliant. You can track everything. Isn't that true, V?
Oh yeah. Carly and I are launching another 30-day quest with us.
It is
together.
awesome. I know.
Go Rich for Women.
Oh, cool. So I'm going to participate in that one.
Awesome.
But I really think that Noble Goldman landed on gold when Mark developed that, because it is so useful. It's free. No one knows about it. Well, not no one, but the world doesn't know about it, but it is so useful. When I started doing it, I was like, wow, like this is awesome. I can actually visually see how I'm doing what I'm doing. And it inspired me to do more. So use that 30-day program and use all the tools that Noble Goldman's giving you to actually set those goals and take action. And it's measurable, gives you a visual measurement of it, which I don't know any other program that's doing it, especially for free. So it's a tremendous asset to all of us that are, in this community. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I would like to kind of open up the conversation and see what people's goals are, first of all, and then where have they found that they succeeded in those goals, and what has stopped them, and if they have incorporated the emotional state and the in the evening going to sleep at night in that emotional state. What have you done to actually create movement in your goal setting? And I'd love to just hear from people. And V, you are the bright, shiny face that is all over my computer screen right now. So I would like to call on you.
Well, yes, the Noble Goldman Abundance Game has really helped me set goals. And also it helps because you can set the goal, but you can set milestones along the way and actually set a reward for yourself as well. And for me, that was a huge thing because I tend to just tick things off and move on. Whereas, and then you don't appreciate, you don't realize how far you've come, and you don't celebrate yourself because you haven't rewarded yourself. So, and then my challenge was to actually find rewards that I wanted to give myself, but that weren't actually another thing to do. So I'm actually going to revisit that thanks to some work with Carly, who woke up my inner child. So now I'll actually be able to find some more fun things to reward myself with.
Awesome. I think it's vitally important when you have a win, you've got to do something incredible for yourself. Like go get a massage, take yourself out to a great dinner all by yourself and just be in joy. And for me, I used to do this thing where I would practice being really aware of my senses. I'd go, if I had a big win at a big training happened and it was really good, and I would go out at night all by myself. I'd go to my favorite restaurant. I would order my favorite meal. Sometimes I'd order 2 entrees. Well, that doesn't mean something different. 2 full dinners in America of my best things that I would never normally ever order because it was too expensive. And I would sit there and I would savor each bite. Like, oh my God, just feel the chocolate in my mouth. I would just get into this like this ecstasy sensory experience with food. And it was awesome because that's how I celebrated. So however you do it, you do it. But you're absolutely right, V. You got to celebrate your wins. Cool.
Can I just want to say something, address one thing that you said there with, when you're condemning and criticizing other people and it comes back to you, you're actually condemning and criticizing yourself. And that kind of works in reverse as well, because I notice it with people who, like with you and Martin and Mark as well, and a few other people, that they see potential in me that I don't even see. And because of that, I can go further.
Yeah. This is super important, gang, because we're all learning from each other. And that's why I want to, just open up the floor. How have you guys done it? I mean, there's been plenty of times I've set goals and they haven't manifested. And, it's because either I wasn't committed or it wasn't actually the right goal for me to be setting. I always say, if it will support my spiritual growth, bring it on. If it will not take me close to God, keep it away from me. So I will set my objectives, but if it doesn't bring me closer to God, don't manifest it. I don't want it. If it brings me closer to God, I want it. Bring it on. And I remember I did this in a relationship. I was really, really lonely, and I really wanted to meet someone. And I remember sitting in this church parking lot crying because I was so frustrated. And I said, okay, God, it's like, I've got it. If being in a relationship is going to bring me closer to you, bring it on. If it's going to drive me away from you and distract me completely, keep it away from me. I'll be content being alone. But whatever happens next, it's in your hands. I'm stopping the struggle. I surrender it over to you. The whole subject of a relationship for me, I'm done with it. I surrender it over to you. Bring it on or keep it away. But whatever it is, bring me closer to you. So I go down to the beach and I meet this person that I saw the night before dancing. And I was like, oh my God. And we were together for 7 years. And that's exactly what I said to him. I said, if you're up for just quick anonymous sex, I'm not the one. If you're up for learning and growing and developing as a person within the context of a relationship, we can do a walk and have a conversation about it. But I'm not up for that quick hit and run thing. This is what I'm about. I'm serious about a really serious relationship. And he said, let's walk and talk. And we were together for 8 or 9 years. It was the most torturous relationship I have ever been in. I wanted to pull my eyeballs out and smash them on the ground with my feet. It was torture. But this is what I'll say to you. It was the thing that put me on my training journey. It was the heartbreak of a lifetime. I cried 2 years every day for 2 years over that relationship. But it's a thing that put me on the map, what finally made me decide to start teaching and training was that relationship, the breakup of it. So when I look back, I thought, oh my God, I got exactly what I asked for. I asked for, if it's going to bring me closer to you, bring it on. If it's going to take me further away, take it away. I got exactly what I asked for, but it doesn't exclude suffering. So just so you know, be very mindful of what you ask for, because if you're asking for God only, then what happens is you have experiences that whittle away at your desires for the world and focuses you only on that one place where there is only true solace and true peace. Because you're not going to find that in a relationship. You'll find support. You'll find a companion on the road. But we're all filled with our own flaws, aren't we? And we all co-create this with another. And so just be mindful. But if you really want to manifest that surrendering process over to a higher power, but really you have to surrender. When you do that, things manifest like that. Okay, I'll shut up. Is there anyone else that wants?
I just know that Jan's got to leave it in 5 minutes. So Jan,
Oh, Jan,
you want to?
Yeah, share with us, darling.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed listening to you then, Gary. That was good. I think I'm too busy worrying about what I'm doing and how I'm affecting others to make my goals happen. So I need to redress how I'm doing, how I'm thinking. But just a couple of days ago, I was really torturing myself with thoughts of a sister, actually, and I was getting really upset. But then, as you're talking about, that's my responsibility. I know now to change those thoughts, how to change those thoughts. So that's been pretty good. Thank you.
It's a big one, but I'll say this to you, Jan. As long as you're always intended to cause no harm, to have kindness be the thing that leads you in your relationships, then what people make up about you is none of your business. That's a transference and projection from their mind and their core wounds. And you cannot take that on. You cannot heal that. That's their job to do. All you can do is just say, I never had an intention to cause you any upset. I just did this like an hour ago with my partner, Robert. I said something, he like blew a gasket over whatever he made up about it. I go back an hour later and go, kiss him on the forehead and said, I just want you to know that it was never my intention to cause you any upset. I only love and respect you. And this was my intention of why I said what I said, or asked the question that I asked. And he goes, I know, I just am really stressed. And I'm like, I know that. So, but as long as we're never intended to cause harm, that is the thing that gives you the integrity and the strength within you, Jan. Regardless of what people make up, which we have no control over. But we have control over our intention.
This was a case of this sister making up stories that were not true about me.
Yeah, yeah. And, you can always just say, enjoy the story, but it has nothing to do with me. It's just, and that's all you have to say. That's got nothing to do with me, and you can enjoy the story. And don't say it in a mean or, nasty way, but just like, I appreciate that, but it really doesn't have anything to do. It It has more to do with the narrative that you're telling yourself, but it doesn't have anything to do with me.
So don't fall into the trap of asking, why do you think that? Just leave it go.
True, because if you defend, you invite more attack.
Okay.
Because by defending it, you're actually validating it. So if you just go, you know, that's a great narrative, and you know, it's fine, but that has nothing to do with what's in my heart, what I feel, what I think. That is more to do with the narrative that you created. You're welcome to it, but that has nothing to do with me. I give it back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's very helpful, actually. It's very helpful.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's your narrative. I like that.
Yeah.
And
Because people
thank you
do
very
this
much.
to
I'm
you.
sorry I have to go.
Okay, Jan.
Yeah, that
See you,
was
darling.
helpful for all of us too.
Good
Thank
luck with that, Jan. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share anything that they've, you know, encountered while setting goals?
Oh, gosh, I could go on forever about not setting goals.
No, just setting goals.
Carly's ready.
So that's
Callie, go for it, darling.
When I was listening to you, I was thinking about that surrender piece, because every time I've prayed and it's a spiritual connection to something that I need to do, it manifests instantly. Like money will come for it. It'll pay for my trip to get to India within a week. Like everything manifests instantly. But when it's something like this in the physical, where I've got to set the goal and go to all the, you know, nothing sort of works, like it's not aligned with the spiritual side of me that obviously manifests instantly. Like, you know, so I'm wondering where in that you work out. I know it's obviously not meant to be, but we're talking things that you'd go, hang on, I need this to happen. Like I need this to happen, as in this is the goal I got downloaded as a purpose. But in all that, I feel like it's a surrender piece, like just total surrender, no matter what I download, as in what like even the thing with V, we're going to do the 30-day quest. But for me, it's a total surrender to who shows up, or do you still have a list of your avatars you want to come to that class? Or do you just totally surrender the whole list?
Well, I'll say I'll just share what I do. I ask for the perfect clients, the perfect coaching clients, the perfect business opportunities, the perfect organizations to engage me. And for my spiritual and my financial destiny. And I literally just surrender it over. I'll look at my book sometimes and I'll be chock-a-block, you know, like for 2 weeks in advance. And then there'll be a week or so where I've completed coaching packages with the clients I had, and a new bunch of clients get to be referred in by people I don't know are going to refer or not, just random, whatever. And I keep doing this prayer because all my clients are cyclical. And as I do that, then all of a sudden people start calling out of the blue from God knows where. And they say, could I book a session, or could I buy a coaching package with you and do some coaching? And I'm like, absolutely. And then it just fills up again. But if I sit in fear is the abundance rejector. You know, you cannot have the resonance of fear and scarcity in your auric field. You cannot be thinking it, feeling it, worrying about it, because it will repel any kind of abundance or what you require to be spiritually aligned from you. Because in that emotion itself, and I know you know this, Callie, it's like saying, well, I don't believe in that, because the emotion itself is, I'm alone, I'm unprotected, I'm distanced from the creative force. But in this place of faith and walking with the knowingness that you are, I'll go to that quote, All things past, present, and to come are gently planned by one who unconditionally loves me. If that's true for you, then you cannot worry, correct? We cannot worry.
And you can't fail even in the fact, like even if it looks like failure to the outside world, it's actually not failure because there's nothing to fear, nothing to worry. But I guess I'm asking because you know how you write out your step 1, step 2, step 3, your list, you've got this whole thing. But then you surrender that because there's those things are they're decisions. They're what I want. They're desires. They're the pieces I've put down on paper so I can see it. I've heard it. I feel it. All those emotions you're talking about. But it's an internal job. Like, yes, I can put it down on paper, but have I really taken it in and owned it in the decision and then surrender it because I trust?
Well, I just was seeing a client, the client that I had to get off the call with and get onto this call with. And she said something really powerful. She said, there's 3 things I live by: appreciation, intention, and delegation. And I thought, I love that. So I wrote that down. And the way that I defined it for myself is I appreciate the life that I've been given, the capacity to create with my mind and my body. My intention is when I set out my strategy to accomplish that. So the accomplishment of it is a strategy that I put into place, the action steps that I am going to take to the best of my knowledge on how to actually make that thing manifest. But the thing that holds all the glue together is a delegation, which is I delegate the creation of this over to a higher power. And I'll go back to what I said before. If it's in my spiritual well-being to bring me closer to you, bring it to me. If it takes me further away from you, take it away from me. I may want that, but if it's not for my highest spiritual good, please keep it away from me. And then all that manifests, you know, and if it is in your highest right good, it does literally almost instantaneously manifest, like you demonstrated. But it's that appreciation, it's the intention, it's the delegation. Those 3 words I think are very powerful and encapsulates just what you've spoken about.
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect because I love appreciation, and definitely intention is one of my, like, really, it's a decision. The intention, it's a prayer straight to God. If you want to, you know, you're surrendering the prayer. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, no. It's so good. There's no way that I can emphasize enough. And I know many people have been wounded by religion. I think religion is, how will I say this in a way that does not offend? I think religion is an adaptation to enlightened masters who have come on the planet and given their teachings, and then their followers, through the constructs of their own mind and egos, constructed rules, regulations, rituals around the teachings of enlightened souls. And so now what we have is not the teachings of the enlightened souls, but the bastardization of the teachings in rites, rituals, and political gobbledygook that surrounds it to control people through those particular rites, rituals, rules, regulations, sins, and all of that. So I don't believe in any of it that most religions speak about, but I believe in the heart and core of every one of the ascended masters' teachings and trainings, because literally there's a golden thread that runs through all of them, every last one of them. They all say the same thing. And so that is, if we're going to follow Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or Krishna, we have to follow that golden thread that runs through all faiths. When we do that, we're probably closer to what the truth is. So I hope I didn't offend anyone. That's just my personal belief system.
Oh, no, but I couldn't agree more, Gary, with that, because they couldn't know what they didn't know. And, you know, if an enlightened person came up with some things, then they wouldn't even understand what that meant, you know, or how they could get that. So really, it's absolutely accurate. I think it
Yeah, I
just
mean,
every single, yeah.
I love this one statement from, I don't even know if Jesus even said this, but it's attributed to Jesus, where he said, "You will know me by how you treat one another." And as far as I'm concerned, that is the simplest, purest definition of what I believe Christ taught. Then all the other nonsense that is out there about, well, Jesus wants this and Jesus doesn't want this, and you're condemned if you do this. That's nothing what Christ ever said. So the true temple is the temple of our relationships. And the more that we can not project, not cause harm, only kindness with the intention of kindness, I think the closer we come to whatever the true divine expression of each one of us, because we're all here to be, I think, angels in a physical form. And the more we're able to do that, the greater power we have, the greater contribution. And most importantly, at least in my book, because I'm getting kind of, in the last couple cycles of my life, the more that I can die satisfied and content with that I evolved enough in this lifetime to feel at peace and that I caused the least amount of harm as I traveled through life. I'm going to leave here feeling like something I have done here have lit the lives of millions of people. I'm going to look back down on the planet and see millions of lights lit. And I don't know if that's possible, but I'm giving it a go, as you say in Australia. So my invitation to all of you, our time here is finite. We need to use our breaths wisely to create the greatest impact we can create, light as many minds and hearts as possible, and use our breaths to be an expression of a powerful force for good. When we do that, I think we leave this place in joy. And that's my objective. And I'm just sharing that, hoping that, it may inspire some of you to some iteration of that objective. So we're almost at the end. I'd love to go through and have you all leave a sentence or a message from what you want to leave with the group for this week. And so you pick up, would you be so kind, darling, as to unmute? Now, I have to tell you, darling, I am so happy to see you. There's a special place in my heart for you. And I know we're just connected on different Zoom calls and stuff, but I just think that you're just such a special soul.
So I just wanted to quickly share, it's so strange because last week I was thinking I really need to start networking more. And I also said I really need to book a call in with Gary. And I literally put it out there, but just things got in the way. And then I spoke to V last night, and V's like, jump on this call. And I was like, wow, that was like a mini micro goal that I'd put for myself to start building a network. And it happened in a week. So I just wanted to share that I was going to contact you directly, and then it's just happened like this. So
So I'm so happy you're on the call.
Yeah.
It's a joy to see you. Okay, Callie, is there a sentence or anything you want to leave for the group?
All I can feel is believe.
Sweet. And Jules?
Yeah, I'm struggling a bit this morning with the goal setting and getting into the feeling, and when you're kind of worried about things, and of course worry is fear, so you're letting the fear in, and yet you can't stop. So that the phone call even was about things that I'm concerned about. Anyway, I just love all these things that you've discussed this morning, which are beautiful, and they are, and yours too, Carly. Yeah, is to just the surrender bit and the delegation. That's another word of it. And I guess that's all we can do, and get into the feeling as much as you can. I always have a little bit of trouble with that. Some people can do that really well. I can kind of do it, but you know, is it enough? I don't know.
Well,
I
thanks.
think it's the surrender part and trusting that's the one that's the most important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's, for me, it's delegation would be the nice word, or surrender.
Thank you. Veronica.
I had a statement come to mind. What if your current thought was your last thought?
That's deep.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good if sometimes our current thought was our last thought.
Yeah, that's just something to practice, I think.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hmm.
Thanks, darling. I love
Sorry,
that.
I didn't quite catch it, Veronica.
What if your current thought was your last thought? Meaning that you want your current thought to be your last thought. And what if it was? I love that. Stan the man.
My word will be very childish, but we're going to have betterer.
Better.
We're going to make things betterer. Everything's going to be betterer.
I like that. Thank you. Joe with the great hair, my friend.
What came to my mind was surrender ego and open to divine guidance, and be open to divine guidance.
Awesome. Curly? Unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, I'm getting there. That all your critical thoughts about other people come back onto you. I'm working with that quite a lot, because that's a really strong paradigm that is taking a lot of work to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly, just all the time. Yeah.
It's true. I mean, if you ever go like to the Dome, you know, in Perth, and just sit there and listen to what the subjects of people's conversations are. And you'll sit back and go, holy moly. People are either complaining about their life or talking ill about other people. It is nonstop. That's where the minds are focused. And that's exactly the Master Nidhi used to say to us. He would say, be like the lotus, flower on the surface of consciousness, but have your roots in the mud. So don't be in the world, but don't be of it. It was a very powerful metaphor for me. So I had my statement, and then it kind of just flew out of my head. Oh, I got it back. So my statement is, be the God you have come here to be, and create miracles. So we are 7 o'clock straight up, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm feeling pretty complete. V, thank you so much, as always, for who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know why it is tonight, but I just feel this overwhelming sense of love. And so I'm going to thank you all for being part of the call. And God bless you all. And I will see you next Tuesday.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Goodbye. Bye, Tika. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.